Xbox, man. You messed up. You messed up. What's going on, you guys? Gaming Guy here. Coming at you with another video. Today we're going to be talking about Xbox. First off, we got to do a little bit of a backstory. A couple weeks ago, we talked about the Nintendo and how they were raising the prices of their system. And we were talking about if that was going to affect their bottom line and if that was going to hurt how much they sold, because they raised the prices of their hardware more than it normally would be. And they compared to previous generations, and they raised their games. Nintendo's one of the only companies I know that would come out with one game as a 70, and that was Tears of the Kingdom. And then you turn around and they got $80 games. I don't know one other game that was $70 on Nintendo. Maybe you guys can correct me in the comment section below. I don't know. But Xbox, we was wondering when it comes to Nintendo, who's going to follow suit? Is it going to be 2K? Because they were the first people to do the $60 to $70 trend. We know that GTA 6 is going to be $80. Was it going to be EA trying to get that money out of you when it comes to like the next Madden? Or is it going to be Activision? Well, or PlayStation. That's another big one. PlayStation loves their money too. It was Xbox. Xbox is raising not only their games from 70 to 80. And keep in mind, we didn't even have the $70 trend from Xbox for a while. Xbox didn't jump to 70. I think they did it with Redfall. I think that was, ironically, that was their first game. Maybe I'm wrong. You can put it in the comment section below. But I'm going to pop over here and we're going to read this. We're going to read this, man. So this is what they raising they stuff to. Now, this is U.S. pricing changes. I don't know if Xbox themselves, because this is being reported by everybody. I don't know if Xbox themselves have come out officially with this, but this is essentially happening at this point. IGN has commented on it. Everyone's commented on it. And, I don't know if this is going to be just a U.S.-based thing now, and then they'll eventually roll it to all the other regions. But let's go ahead and read this. You got the Xbox Series S going from $300 to $379. So that's a $79 price hike. Then you got the Xbox Series X, because I'm only going off the ones that are known the most. You got the Xbox Series S from $499 to $599. They even raised the controllers a little bit. It looks like they raised them $10 when it comes to special editions. Well, which is interesting, because I'm not seeing the raising of the regular core controllers. The Xbox Series, the Xbox wireless controller, core and color is still the same price. So I'm kind of curious on why, we needed this Xbox wireless controller special edition to go from $69.99 to $79.99. It's a little interesting to me. I don't know. And maybe you guys can put in the comment section below. Look, we knew this was going to happen. We knew that this industry is going to look for reasons to bilk you. And the funny thing, sorry about that. The funny thing is they literally just came off of a profitable Xbox division besides consoles. Everything was going up in terms of Xbox. So that's the crazy part, and the crazy part that we live in. We live in where your actual division could still do good, and we still gonna raise them prices. Now, obviously, number one thing people are gonna point to is the tariffs. America putting the tariffs, and it probably is the tariffs to a degree. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys, and this is just my personal opinion on the matter. I think they were going to raise these regardless eventually. I think these companies, they they idolize. They look for reasons to raise these prices. And in my personal opinion, it could be my opinion. In my opinion, it could be wrong. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and act like I know what I'm talking about. But I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo, Microsoft, PlayStation, 2K, Ubisoft, every big publisher in this industry that make AAA products all came together and they were like, we're raising the prices again. We need to get this up. And it's like one of those like unspoken silent agreements. Like, you know, they staring each other down at the meetings that they have when they go to these big events like, you know, the June showcase stuff. Because, look, E3's not there, but there's still a remnant of the E3 there. It's just not called the same thing. It's called Summer Game Fest. You got Gamescom. There's so many, and then not to mention a lot of these companies in the same city. You know, I know that's like some Illuminati stuff, but that's just my opinion on the matter. These companies know what each other's going to do, and they're like, we're going to make sure we follow suit fast. This is not an excuse by any realm of the stretch of the imagination. Xbox is already having a hard time selling consoles, so raising the suckers by $80 to $100 isn't going to help. Then, you know, maybe that is one of the side effects to not caring about the console market anymore. When you don't care about the console market and you don't care about making the money off those, it would make more sense that you're able to, you know, not care if you raise prices on stuff like this. You know, here's the thing. People are going to buy good games regardless, but I do think this is going to really, really, really hurt the indie market. Because obviously you could put your game wherever you want to. But when these companies sign up with these big indie publishers like Devolver Digital, they're not a culprit of it. I don't really know their pricing like that. You know, they don't think on what's a good price for the game. They think on what's a good price for a good margin return. You know, look at something like Expedition 33, getting all this praise. Everyone loves this game, $50. And keeping for someone that's streaming the game over on the Addict Arena channel, I personally feel like they could have got more for this, but they didn't because they know that not every game got to be 70. Some games are going to sell better at 50. Some games are going to sell more at 50. Sure, there's going to be games that could have made better margins because it's 70, even if they sold less. But I feel like the good publicity is helping Expedition 33 and knowing that game's on Game Pass, that anything that could happen. Look, these companies aren't your friends. Now, you might have acquaintances and you might actually have friends that work at these companies. But the companies themselves, they're not your friends. All these companies want is your money. When it comes to content creators and influencers, all these companies want to do is use you to get their point across. They don't necessarily care if it affects you in any way, shape, or form. Look, I think people need to understand that post-COVID, these companies aren't trying to let those profits go. They want the money that COVID got post-COVID. And you're seeing that. And, you know, there's a chart out there saying that the industry is making more money after COVID, even with all these downfalls. We continue to see layoffs at every company in the industry. We continue to see layoffs and studio closures. We continue to see raising prices on everything. And why do you think they're doing that? Because the investors saw that money during the pandemic, and they're not willing to let that money go under no circumstances. And I guess as a consumer, we got a couple options. We could choose not to buy their games, but is that realistically an approach? Now, I do think that people are still going to buy games, but they're going to be more selective on what they buy. And once again, when it comes to these type of scenarios, indies tend to get hit the hardest because there's AAA games that have the type of notoriety where they don't even need marketing. They just need to show their name. Like maybe less Assassin's Creed these days, but Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, these type of games are going to sell regardless. They don't even need marketing. But the indie games and the new IPs, those are the ones that's going to get hurt the most because AAA new IPs are going to come out. They're going to be $80 and they're going to sell less because they're that much. When they could have been 60 and probably picked up more steam because you're a little bit in compulsive buying. And not to mention the state of the world in general. The economy is definitely needs of improvement. There's a lot of issues going on here, and the sad part about it is raising prices like this is helping no one. Not even Xbox. They should be ashamed of themselves raising these prices, and I get it. It's not everyone at Xbox. There's plenty of people at Xbox that probably doesn't want this. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the money, companies will bankrupt their whole company trying to get money. Companies will make games because they want long-term money, known as games as a service, and they will bankrupt their whole company. These companies will do whatever they feel. They'd rather lose $200 million over and over again with the potential of making a lot of money from that games as a service than go out there and find a good single-player experience, a good multiplayer experience that doesn't necessarily have the back ending that something like a Fortnite would have, but it would make you a lot of money. For years, this industry has padded themselves over and over again with microtransactions, season passes, battle passes. They've done more and more to pad that now. Regular money that you make just for making games doesn't look appealing enough anymore. They don't want that money. And you've seen a lot of companies like PlayStation damn near go bankrupt trying to achieve those. So anyway, that's it for the video, man. Look, it is what it is. I don't want this to go up. I feel like this is a mistake. I feel like Xbox is already having issues, but once again, they don't care about what they sell in hardware. People are going to continue to buy the games regardless. They got Game Pass. Game Pass is definitely going to go up eventually. Right now, they're probably not trying to have it go up currently. They're probably going to use this to offset Game Pass from going up currently. But it will go up eventually. Don't get that twisted. But I'm very curious to you guys' opinion in the comment section below. One thing I want to bring up to you guys is I got this controller from Gamesir. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, man. You guys don't like what's going over on Xbox and the Switch. Well, this is a Switch controller, too. It's a nice little Switch controller, actually. But you can play this on PC. Comes with a dongle. I think when it comes to this particular company, they make very solid controllers. They make solid controllers. It's called the Gamesir Supernova multi-platform game controller. Comes in blue and white. You guys, it's for $49.99. They got a lot going into this, man. It's a very beautiful looking controller, especially when it's charging. It works pretty well. I've used it for a little bit. You can hook this up to phones. You can hook this up to PC, to the Switch. I don't know if it's going to work for the Switch 2 yet. They said they'd get back to me on that. Definitely recommend it, man. Highly recommend it. I think you guys would enjoy this. But with all that being said, I'm going to put all that in the comment section, in the description below if you guys want to go pick up a Gamesir controller. And until next time, this is Gaming Addict. I'm out of here. Peace. Man, Xbox. This is crazy to wake up to, I'm going to be honest.